In the year 2249, humans had reached distant worlds across the galaxy. Some planets were peaceful, some wild, and some were home to powerful alien civilizations. Among these civilizations was the Valran Empire, known for its strength, discipline, and cold hearts. They believed emotions were weakness. Their soldiers followed orders without question, and their leaders ruled with an iron hand. But everything changed when a young Valran princess, Princess Alira, disappeared. No one on Earth knew much about the Valran. Humans only knew they were dangerous and did not usually speak with weaker species. So when the news spread across the galaxy that the princess was missing, everyone watched carefully. The Emperor of Valran blamed humans. He believed someone on Earth had taken her, and he wanted her back. This is where the story of Ethan Ward begins. Ethan was not a soldier, not a pilot, not a hero. He was a simple cargo engineer who worked on a trading ship called the Horizon Star. He spent his days repairing engines, moving supply crates, and drinking cheap coffee while listening to space radio. He had no dreams of glory. He had no special powers. He just wanted to finish work early and sleep. But fate had other plans. One night, while Ethan was working on the ship's lower hangar deck, the lights flickered. The alarms did not sound, but something felt wrong. He heard footsteps, soft, hurried, almost frightened. When he turned, he saw a girl wearing a silver cloak, her face partly hidden. Her eyes were bright, glowing faintly blue, and they held a strange mixture of fear and hope. "You a human," she whispered. "Please, do not call the guards." Ethan blinked. Who are you? How did you even get here?" She looked around nervously, her voice quiet. "My name is Alira. I am from the Valran Empire." Ethan nearly dropped the tool in his hand. "Wait. Like the Valran? The ones who could destroy this ship in one shot?" She nodded. "Yes. That Valran." This should have been the moment Ethan ran to call security. Anyone else would have. But there was something in her eyes, something soft, something desperate. She did not look like an enemy. She looked like someone who had been running for a very long time. "Why are you here?" Ethan asked. "They want to control me," Alira said. "They want to use me." I refused. So they locked me away. I escaped, but they are hunting me. If they catch me again, they will start a war. And they will not stop. Before she could finish, the ship shook. The alarm sounded this time, loud and sharp. "Warning, unidentified military vessel approaching." Ethan looked out the hangar window. A massive warship was approaching, black armor, glowing engines, wings like blades. A Valran royal hunter ship. "They found me," Alira whispered. Her voice trembled. Ethan felt his heartbeat speed up. This was not a small problem. This was galaxy-level trouble. Soldiers rushed through the hallways. Red emergency lights flashed. The captain shouted orders over the intercom. "Everyone to battle positions. Do not let the enemy board." Alira looked at Ethan with fear. "If they take me, your people will suffer." Ethan did not know why he did what he did next. He could have walked away. He could have left her for the soldiers. But instead, he grabbed her hand. "Follow me." She stared at him, surprised. "Why would you help me?" Ethan did not know the answer himself. Maybe it was instinct. Maybe it was humanity. "Because," he said, "you asked." They ran through the ship. Doors opened and closed. The sound of blasters echoed behind them. Valran soldiers were boarding, tall, armored, and silent like shadows. Ethan led her to an old maintenance shuttle, small, rusty, barely working. "This thing can fly?" she asked. "Hopefully," Ethan said. "Hold on." The shuttle launched just as the boarding forces reached the hangar. Blaster fire lit up the space behind them. The shuttle shook violently as it escaped into the darkness of the stars. Breathing hard, Ethan leaned back in his seat. "What did I just do?" he whispered. Alira looked at him with a strange expression, not fear, Not sorrow, but something new. Something she had never seen among her people. Humans, she said softly. You are different. Ethan didn't reply. He just stared at the stars ahead, his life now changed forever. Far behind them, the Valran warship sent out a message across the galaxy. The human who has taken the princess will be found. And when he is, the Empire will burn his world. And so, the hunt began. The small maintenance shuttle drifted quietly through the darkness of space, its engines humming weakly. Ethan kept his hands on the controls, trying to keep the shuttle steady. The ship was old, scratched, and barely held together by rusted bolts. It was never meant for long travel. But right now, it was the only hope. Princess Alira sat in the co-pilot seat, her eyes watching the stars quietly. She looked calm, but Ethan could see tension in her shoulders. She had been running for a long time. After a few minutes of silence, Ethan spoke. So, you want to tell me why your own people are chasing you? Alira slowly turned her head, her bright blue eyes meeting his. The Valran Empire believes strength is everything. Emotions are weakness. They train children to obey. Never question. Never feel. Ethan raised an eyebrow. Sounds like a pretty rough childhood. It is, she answered. But I was different. I felt things. I cared. And I asked questions I was not allowed to ask. Her voice grew softer. The council feared that I would change the empire. So they tried to control me. To use me as a symbol. And when I refused, her voice stopped, like the memory hurt too much. They locked me away. Ethan didn't know what to say to that. He leaned back in his seat and took a slow breath. Well, he said finally, you did the right thing. Nobody deserves to be treated like a tool. Alira looked surprised for a moment. No one had ever said that to her before. But before the moment could settle, the shuttle beeped sharply. Incoming transmission. Ethan froze. No, no, no. Not now. The hologram screen flickered, and a tall Valran commander appeared, armored in black steel, helmet shaped like a skull. His voice was cold and deep. Human vessel. Return the princess. You are harboring a royal property of the Valran Empire. Surrender, and your death will be fast. Ethan felt his stomach twist. He glanced at Alira. She narrowed her eyes. Commander Rel. He was assigned to watch me, after I refused the council. Rel's helmet turned slightly. Princess Alira. You cannot escape your duty. You will return. The Empire needs you. No, she said firmly. The Empire only wants control. They do not care about life. Rel's voice sharpened. Then we will take you by force. The transmission ended. Ethan didn't wait. He slammed his hand on the controls. Hold on. The shuttle engines roared, pushing the small ship into a quick acceleration. The stars stretched into lines as they moved into faster travel. But the Valran ship behind them activated pursuit mode. The chase had begun. The shuttle shook. Warning lights flashed. The old engine hissed and sparked. This thing can't keep this speed for long. Ethan shouted. Alira closed her eyes and placed her hand on the engine core panel. A soft blue glow spread from her hand, and the engine sound steadied. Ethan stared. What was that? My people possess bioenergy abilities, she explained. Some more than others. You can fix engines with your hands? That's incredible. It is not meant for machines, she said. But I learned to adapt. The shuttle's speed increased, and they escaped into a dense asteroid field. Sharp, dark rocks floated everywhere, like a maze of danger. That warship is too big to follow us in here, Ethan said. But the Valran didn't stop. Smaller hunter drones launched from the warship and entered the asteroid field, fast, deadly, and silent. Ethan cursed. They just don't quit. Alira's expression stayed calm. They will follow us to the end. They do not understand mercy. The shuttle weaved between spinning rocks. One wrong move and they would be crushed. Ethan gripped the controls tighter than he ever had. A drone shot a plasma bolt that skimmed the hull, shaking the entire shuttle. Ethan, left. Elira shouted. He jerked the ship just in time to avoid a collision. The drone slammed into an asteroid and exploded into sparks. 2 more drones approached fast. Ethan, Elira said suddenly, her voice steady. Trust me. She placed her hand on his, guiding the ship through the sharp turns, not with fear, but with grace. Together, they moved like the ship was part of them. One by one, the drones crashed into the stones. At last, the shuttle burst out of the asteroid field and into open space. The Valran warship was nowhere in sight. Silence returned. Ethan let out a breath he didn't realize he had been holding. We made it. Elira looked at him with something new in her eyes. Something warm. You saved me, she whispered. Ethan laughed weakly. Yeah, well, I think I just put a target the size of a planet on my back. She smiled, small, but real. Not just you. Now, we share it. Ethan stared forward, into the unknown galaxy ahead. He had no plan. No allies. No idea what would come next. But he was not alone. And somewhere behind them, Commander Rel ordered every hunter squad in the Empire. Find the human. Do not let him live. The real fight was only beginning. The small shuttle finally slowed near an abandoned spaceport floating above a quiet red planet. The station looked old, metal rusted, lights dim, no traffic signals. It was a place forgotten by most of the galaxy. Perfect for hiding, at least for now. Ethan guided the shuttle into the docking port and shut off the engine. The moment the ship powered down, the silence felt heavy. He leaned back in his chair. I think we lost them. At least for a while. Elira nodded, but she didn't look relaxed. Her eyes scanned the dark windows of the station as if she still expected danger. She had lived in fear for so long that safety no longer felt real. They stepped out of the shuttle. The station halls were quiet. Dust floated in the air. Old flickering lights buzzed overhead. It's empty, Ethan said. Places like this are sometimes used by travelers running from trouble, Elira replied. We must stay alert. Not everyone hiding is harmless. Ethan swallowed. Great. So we're in a hideout full of criminals. Not full, she said softly. Just possible. He did not feel comforted. They walked through the station until they reached an old supply room. Ethan found a metal crate and sat down, letting out a tired sigh. His body felt like he had run a marathon. His mind felt even worse. Elira stood quietly across from him, looking at the floor. You're exhausted, Ethan said. I am used to exhaustion, she answered. But her voice was thin, tired. He motioned toward a seat. Sit. Please. She hesitated, then sat down slowly. For a few minutes they were silent, just breathing, just existing in the same space. Then Ethan spoke, voice low. Elira, if we are going to survive this, I need to understand. Why are you so important to your empire? She looked at him, expression unreadable. The Valran Empire believes that leadership is inherited through something they call the sovereign gene, a trait passed only to royal bloodlines. It allows us to project influence, control, and unity among our people. My father has it. I have it. Without it, the empire would fall into chaos. Sounds like a lot of pressure, Ethan said quietly. It is not the pressure that frightened me. Her voice trembled just slightly. It is what they wanted to use me for. My father is dying. Soon, the council will control him completely. They want me to take his place as queen, while they hold the power behind me. They want me to be a puppet. And through me, they would control the entire empire. Ethan's eyes widened. So if they get you back, the whole galaxy is in danger. Yes, she whispered. Ethan leaned forward, elbows on knees. The situation was bigger than he had imagined. He hadn't just helped someone escape. He had stolen the key to the most powerful empire in the galaxy. He rubbed his face with his hands. Okay, so we need help. But from who? We can't go to Earth. They'll track us. We can't go to any large colonies either. Valran ships can get there faster than we can. Elira looked thoughtful. There is one place. A hidden sector. A city built by those who escaped the Valran Empire long ago. They rejected the Council's rule. They live free. They may help us. Ethan raised an eyebrow. A secret resistance? That actually sounds useful. Elira nodded softly. But reaching them will not be easy. They are hidden behind nebula storms. And even if we find them, they do not trust strangers. We'll figure it out, Ethan said, trying to sound confident. One step at a. Suddenly, metal scraped somewhere in the hallway. Ethan froze. Elira's eyes sharpened instantly. We are not alone. Ethan stood and slowly approached the corridor. He moved quietly, trying not to make sound. When he turned the corner, a tall man in a brown jacket stood there, holding a blaster loosely at his side. His face was calm, but his eyes were sharp and calculating. He didn't look like a soldier. He looked like someone who had lived through things and survived. Well, the man said with a small smirk. Never thought I'd see the day a human runs off with a Valran princess. Ethan tensed. Who are you? The man didn't raise his weapon. He simply nodded at Elira. I know who she is. And I know who's hunting her. He looked back at Ethan. Name's Kale. Used to serve the Empire. Until I realized what they truly are. Elira's eyes widened slightly. A deserter. Call it what you want. Kale shrugged. I call it waking up. Ethan didn't lower his guard. You planning to turn us in? Kale chuckled. If I wanted to, I would have already. Your shuttle's ID code lit up every scanner in this station. Half the outer rim knows you're here by now. Ethan's stomach dropped. That's really bad. Kale nodded. Yeah. Which means you need a new ship. And fast. Ethan and Elira exchanged a glance. Kale stepped closer. If you want to live, and if you actually plan on stopping the Empire, you're going to need someone who knows how they think. He pointed a finger at his own chest. That someone is me. Ethan looked at Elira. Elira looked at Kale. Silence hung like a weight. Finally, Ethan sighed. Fine. We work together. But if you betray us, Kale smirked. You'll do something heroic? Please don't. Heroes die fast. Ethan didn't smile back. But for the first time since running, he didn't feel alone. Far away, on the Valran flagship, Commander Rel stared at a glowing map. Signals pointed toward the red planet. His voice was ice. Prepare the fleet. The hunt continues. The darkness of war began to move. The next morning, the hidden spaceport was quiet, almost too quiet. Ethan sat on a metal crate, staring at the shuttle that had carried them so far. Its hull was scratched, and the engines hissed faintly. They needed a new ship if they had any chance of escaping the Valran Empire for good. Kale paced nearby, hands clasped behind his back. We don't have much time, he said. Rel will send more hunters. They'll find us if we linger. Elira, sitting across from Ethan, nodded. Her usually calm face was tense. We must reach the nebula sector. That is the only place safe enough for now. Ethan rubbed his forehead. And let me guess, getting there won't be simple, right? Kale smirked. Nothing in this galaxy is simple. Especially when you're being hunted by the most disciplined army in the stars. The three of them moved toward the docking area. Kale had chosen a small, sleek ship hidden behind the port's larger, rusted vessels. Its paint was dark, almost black, and its engines glowed faintly green. "This ship can outrun a Valran hunter," Kale said. "But only if the pilot knows what he's doing." He looked at Ethan. "You're going to have to learn fast." Ethan's eyes widened. "Wait, what? I'm not a pilot. I fix engines." "Big difference." Kale chuckled. "Fixing engines and flying a ship are similar. You just need confidence. And luck." Elira stepped forward, placing her hand on Ethan's arm. "We don't have a choice. If we stay, they will find us. You are the only one who can fly fast enough to get us out." Ethan groaned. This is insane. But insane had become normal in the past 2 days. He followed Kale and Elira into the ship. As they entered the cockpit, alarms on the ship blinked faintly. Kale moved to the back, checking the weapons and communication systems. Ethan sat in the pilot seat, gripping the controls nervously. Elira took the co-pilot seat. "Trust yourself," she said simply. "You can do this." Ethan swallowed hard. "Right, trust myself. Got it." The ship lifted off the docking port, engines humming smoothly. Outside, the red planet shrank as they entered the blackness of space. Ethan had never felt fear and excitement at the same time like this. His hands shook, but the ship responded to every movement. "Now, we head into the asteroid belt," Kale said from behind. "Rel won't follow here easily. It's dangerous, but it's our best chance." Ethan's stomach dropped. "Asteroids? Seriously? This is a terrible idea." Elira leaned forward, scanning the instruments. "You can do it. Focus. Don't think about them. Focus only on flying." The first asteroids appeared, huge, dark rocks spinning slowly. The ship weaved around them, Ethan's hands white from gripping the controls. Small alarms blinked as the shields absorbed light collisions. "This is insane," Ethan muttered. "We're going to die here." "You won't," Elira said calmly. Her hand brushed the console, and the shield energy strengthened slightly. "I will help." They moved deeper into the belt. The rocks grew larger, spinning faster, closer together. Ethan's heart raced. Every turn was a gamble. Every second, he felt the hunters behind them closing in. "Too close." Kale shouted suddenly. "Hard left." Ethan jerked the controls, narrowly avoiding a collision. The ship shuddered violently. He bit back a scream. Behind them, a hunter drone appeared, its engines glowing red. Elira's eyes glowed faintly. She placed her hand on the side panel, and a wave of energy surged out. The drone shuddered, its systems failing. It exploded quietly, rocks scattering around the blast. Ethan blinked. "You're insane." "I call it survival," Elira said softly, her gaze returning to the stars ahead. They flew deeper into the belt, every turn tighter than the last. Finally, after what felt like hours but was only minutes, they burst out into open space. The asteroid field was behind them. Ethan exhaled slowly, his body trembling. "We made it. We actually made it." Kale gave a rare smile. "Not bad, for your first time." Elira looked at Ethan, gratitude in her eyes. "You are braver than most humans I have ever known." Ethan rubbed the back of his neck awkwardly. "I'm still terrified." Kale leaned forward. "Good. Fear keeps you alive. Confidence will keep you alive longer. Together, maybe you have a chance against Rel." For the first time, Ethan began to feel something he hadn't felt since the journey started: hope. But somewhere far away, on the edge of the galaxy, Rel stared at the navigation screens. The Valran Empire's fleet was moving, readying the next strike. "Seal the nebula sector," Rel commanded. "They will not escape. No human, no princess. Nothing will stop us." And somewhere in the silence of space, Ethan realized that the real fight was only beginning. The galaxy itself was about to become a battlefield. The ship drifted silently through the dark expanse of space. The stars sparkled like distant diamonds, but Ethan hardly noticed. His hands were still trembling from the asteroid belt. Even with Alira's help, he had never flown anything so dangerous in his life. Kale sat behind them, monitoring the ship's systems. "You're improving," he said casually. "But don't get comfortable. Rel is relentless. He will find us sooner or later." Ethan groaned. "Why does he sound so cheerful while threatening to kill us?" Alira didn't answer. Her eyes were fixed on the forward screens. Something was wrong. "What is it?" Ethan asked. She pointed to a blinking radar. "Sensors detect multiple ships. Smaller, faster than hunter drones. They are moving toward us, but not following standard Valran protocols." Kale leaned forward, eyes narrowing. "Pirates." Ethan froze. "Pirates? You mean, like space criminals?" Kale nodded. "Yes. Dangerous, unpredictable, and usually, worse than the Empire itself. But they may be our chance. If we can convince them to help, we gain allies. If we fail, we die." Ethan swallowed. "So basically, roll the dice with people who will probably shoot us anyway." Alira didn't flinch. "We must try. We have no other choice." Kale's hand moved over the comms panel. "I'll hail them. Just stay calm." The ship's voice system flickered, then a deep, gruff voice answered. "Who dares enter the dead zone without permission?" Ethan blinked. "Dead zone? That sounds ominous." Kale spoke. "We are travelers seeking safe passage. We have no hostile intent." A pause. Then laughter. Low, menacing, and echoing through the comms. "You have a Valran with you?" the voice asked. Alira stiffened. "I am not for sale. We are not your enemies." The laughter returned. "Not for sale, eh? Brave words for someone fleeing the Empire. Fine. Dock at Station Obsidian. We will decide your fate." Ethan turned pale. "Great. So, they're going to either help us or kill us. That's comforting." Kale gave him a look. "You're still alive, aren't you?" Ethan sighed. "Barely." The station appeared on the horizon, a floating fortress of dark metal, jagged and black as obsidian. It hovered near a small planet, surrounded by ion storms that made the approach dangerous. Ethan gritted his teeth as he piloted the ship through the storms. Lightning arced dangerously close, shaking the ship violently. "Left. Hard left." Kale shouted. Ethan obeyed, weaving through the storm. Alira's hands hovered over the console, glowing faintly as she helped stabilize the shields. Finally, they reached the docking port. Massive doors opened silently, and the ship slipped inside. The interior of Station Obsidian was dark and eerie. Shadows stretched along the walls. Strange figures moved silently. The air smelled metallic, with sparks of electricity in the distance. Ethan's grip tightened on the controls. "I don't like this place." Alira whispered, "Stay close." A tall figure emerged from the shadows. Black armor, scarred face, eyes sharp as knives. He smiled coldly. "I am Captain Drake," he said. "And you have entered my station without permission. Explain yourselves." Kale stepped forward. "We seek temporary refuge. We are hunted by the Valran Empire. If you assist us, there may be profit for you in the future." Drake's eyes narrowed. "Hunted by the Empire, you say? Intriguing. But why should I help a human and a princess?" Alira stepped forward. "Because if you don't, Rel will find us, and your station will be next. The Empire does not forgive." Drake laughed. "Confidence. I like that. You may stay. But know this, betrayal here is met with death." Ethan's stomach twisted. "I think I'd rather face Rel than these guys." Kale shrugged. "Welcome to the galaxy. Trust is expensive." Alira moved toward a small room in the back. "We need to plan. Rel will not wait long before sending the fleet. We must prepare a route to the nebula sector and gather allies. And we must move quickly. Ethan sank into a chair. He had thought the worst was behind them. He was wrong. The universe had only just begun to test him. Hours passed as they discussed strategy. Kale mapped possible routes, calculating risks. Alira explained the locations of rebel outposts, secret safe zones, and hidden allies. Ethan listened, absorbing everything. He realized the journey ahead was bigger than he could have imagined. No longer was it just about escape, it was about survival, loyalty, and the faint hope of turning the tide against a mighty empire. Suddenly, a siren blared through the station. Red lights flashed. Kale froze. That is impossible. Ethan's eyes widened. What now? Alira grabbed his arm. Rel found us. Somehow, he knows our location. Through the station's dark corridors, they heard the unmistakable hum of energy weapons and the stomp of armored boots. Ethan's heart pounded. The fight had found them again, closer than ever. Kale whispered, "Time to run." And the station's shadowed halls became the battlefield for a fight that would decide who lived, and who would die. Alarms echoed through station obsidian, red lights flashing like warnings in a storm. Ethan's heart raced as he followed Kale and Alira down the dimly lit corridors. Every corner could hide an enemy, every shadow a Valran soldier ready to strike. "This way," Kale whispered, leading them toward a narrow maintenance tunnel. "It's risky, but it's the only escape route." Ethan glanced at Alira. Her face was pale, but her blue eyes glowed faintly, steady as ever. "We have to move fast," she said. "If Rel's fleet arrives, the station will be destroyed, and we will be trapped." They slipped into the tunnel. The metal walls were cold, vibrating faintly with distant explosions and the hum of energy weapons. Ethan's palms were slick with sweat as he gripped the handrail. Suddenly, a sharp clang echoed behind them. Ethan spun around. A group of Valran soldiers blocked the tunnel's entrance, weapons raised. Their armor gleamed black, their movements precise, unfeeling. "Stop!" one of them shouted. Kale stepped forward, raising his hands briefly. "We don't want trouble. Just let us pass." The soldiers didn't move. Their leader, a tall figure with a helmet shaped like a crown, advanced. Ethan's stomach sank. He recognized him immediately from the intelligence files Kale had shown him earlier. "It's Commander Rel," Kale muttered. Ethan swallowed hard. Great, perfect timing. Alira's hand glowed faintly as she raised it. "We can't fight them all. We have to distract them." Kale nodded. "Ethan, follow me. Trust me." Ethan's legs trembled, but he ran after Kale as they ducked into a side hatch. Sparks flew along the tunnel as blaster fire ricocheted off the metal walls. Alira's energy pulses knocked a few soldiers off balance, giving them a precious few seconds. "Keep moving," Kale shouted. The hatch opened into a storage bay filled with crates and machinery. Ethan stumbled over a box, almost losing balance. "This is insane. We're going to die here." Kale grabbed his arm. "Focus. If we stop thinking about dying, maybe we won't." Alira followed, energy glowing around her hands, keeping the remaining soldiers at bay just long enough for them to reach a smaller emergency shuttle hidden among the crates. "This is it," Kale said. "Get in." Ethan fumbled with the controls, starting the engines. Sparks flew from the panel as the old shuttle roared to life. The Valran soldiers shouted, charging toward them, but Alira's pulse knocked several back as the shuttle lifted off. Outside, the station's massive structure loomed in the darkness, glowing red as explosions began to tear through its walls. Ethan's hands shook violently as he navigated through the narrow gaps, dodging debris and incoming fire from Rel's fleet. "This is impossible," Ethan gasped. Alira gripped his shoulder. "You can do this. Just focus. We are counting on you." Kale's eyes were fixed on the radar. "Rel's ships are closing fast. We need to reach the nebula sector. There's a warp gate hidden in the storm clouds. That's our only chance." Ethan pushed the throttle, weaving through the wreckage and enemy fire. The shuttle shook violently as lasers streaked past them, cutting sparks from the hull. He narrowly avoided a falling piece of the station. "Almost there," Cale shouted. "Left. Hard left." Ethan obeyed, barely dodging a massive energy blast. The warp gate appeared as a glowing rift among the ion storms, swirling like a liquid vortex. "We made it," Elira whispered, awe in her voice. "Not yet," Cale said. "We have to enter it fast. Rel won't give us a moment of mercy." Ethan's hands moved like lightning over the controls. The shuttle lurched as they entered the storm, lightning arcing dangerously close. The warp gate's gravity pulled them in. Behind them, Rel's flagship fired a massive blast, shaking the shuttle violently. Sparks flew. Ethan gritted his teeth. "Hold together, old girl. Just a little further." The shuttle hit the edge of the warp gate. Light bent around them. Space twisted. Time seemed to slow. For a brief moment, everything was chaos, and then, they were through. They emerged in the nebula sector, surrounded by swirling clouds of gas and light. The storm hid them from sensors. Silence replaced chaos. Ethan's body sagged in relief. We made it," he whispered, disbelief in his voice. Elira turned to him, smiling faintly. "Yes. But this is only the beginning. The Empire will not stop. And Rel will not rest until he finds us." Cale leaned back in his seat, exhausted but alive. "Now, we plan. We gather allies. We strike back. But first, we hide. And heal." Ethan looked out at the swirling colors of the nebula. Stars shone differently here, softer, mysterious. For the first time in days, he felt hope, fragile, but real. But far away, on a distant command ship, Rel's voice echoed coldly through the bridge. "They escaped, for now. But the hunt continues. The human and the princess will be found. And when they are, the galaxy will witness the power of the Valran Empire." Ethan had survived chaos, battle, and fear. But he knew one thing clearly: the real war was only beginning. The nebula sector was quiet, deceptively calm. Swirling clouds of gas hid the rebel ships, allowing Ethan, Elira, and Cale to regroup without being seen. For the first time in days, they felt a moment of safety. But safety was fragile. They all knew the Empire would not rest. Ethan stared out at the glowing nebula. "I can't believe we actually made it here. Alive." Elira stepped beside him. Her blue eyes reflected the swirling lights of the nebula. "We survived, but survival is not enough. The Empire will come for me. For you. For everyone who helps us. We must fight, or they will destroy everything we care about." Cale joined them, his face grim. "The nebula sector is home to many rebels, but convincing them to join our fight won't be easy. They don't trust outsiders, especially humans. And Rel, he's relentless. He won't stop until he captures you, princess." Ethan ran a hand through his hair. "So we fight an entire empire, with people who don't trust us, while being chased by the deadliest commander in the galaxy. That's optimistic." Cale smirked. "Optimistic is one word. Insane is another. You fit both." Elira stepped forward, determination in her posture. "We have no choice. If we do nothing, billions will suffer under the Empire's control. And I refuse to let that happen. I refuse to be a puppet." Ethan swallowed hard. "Then, we do it together. But I'm not a soldier. I barely survived flying a ship through an asteroid belt." Cale laughed softly. "You're learning fast. That's what matters. Survival is the first step. The next is strategy." They spent hours planning, poring over maps of Valran-controlled space. Cale explained the Empire's patrol routes, weak points, and hidden communication channels. Elira shared insider knowledge about the Council's politics and the divisions within the Empire itself. "There is a chance," she said quietly. "If we strike at the right moment, we can destabilize the council long enough to escape, maybe even inspire rebellion within their ranks. Ethan felt a spark of hope. So, we're not just running anymore. We're actually fighting back. Yes, Kale said firmly. But we need allies. Without them, we are nothing but 3 fugitives in a galaxy of hunters. The next day, they made contact with a group of rebels hidden deep in the nebula. At first, the reception was cold. Suspicion ran high. Humans were outsiders. A Valran princess was a potential liability. But Alira's words, her sincerity, and the danger they all faced swayed the council. We are not asking for blind loyalty, Alira said during the council meeting. We are asking for a chance to survive. If we unite, we can strike back at the Empire, not as pawns, but as equals. The council murmured among themselves. Kale watched quietly, reading every reaction. Finally, the leader, a tall, scarred woman named Lysara, spoke. You are brave. Foolish, perhaps. But brave. We will help you. But know this, one mistake and we will not forgive. One step wrong, and you die. Ethan glanced at Kale and Alira. I think we just got lucky. Luck has little to do with it, Kale muttered. Skill, courage, and desperation. That's what keeps people alive. The plan was set. They would use the rebels' hidden fleet to ambush the Valran fleet in a narrow star corridor, where their numerical advantage would be less effective. Alira would use her influence to destabilize the council, Kale would lead the tactical strike, and Ethan would pilot the fastest ship, carrying vital communications and supplies to turn the tide. Days passed as they prepared. Ethan trained relentlessly, learning the capabilities of the rebel ships, practicing maneuvers through simulation fields. Alira met secretly with defectors inside the Empire, spreading subtle rumors to weaken their enemies. Kale coordinated with every rebel squad, ensuring that no mistake would go unnoticed. Finally, the day of the strike arrived. The rebel fleet emerged from the nebula, hidden until the perfect moment. Valran patrol ships were caught off guard, their formation broken. Blaster fire lit the void like streaks of fire, explosions scattering debris in every direction. Ethan's heart pounded as he navigated through the chaos, dodging enemy fire, delivering critical supplies to key rebel ships. Alira's energy pulses struck Valran ships, disabling them with precise strikes. Kale commanded the fleet with precision, turning potential disaster into tactical brilliance. And then, they reached the command ship. Rel appeared on the viewing screen, his cold eyes staring directly at them. You cannot escape, he said, voice echoing. I will destroy you. I will destroy everything you love. Alira stepped forward. You underestimate us, Rel. Humanity is not so easily defeated. The final confrontation was brutal. Ships collided, energy blasts tore through the void, and for a moment, it seemed impossible that anyone would survive. But together, human, Valran princess, and rebel strategist, they fought with courage, intelligence, and heart. Ethan piloted a daring maneuver, weaving through enemy fire to reach the flagship's core systems. Alira unleashed a pulse of energy that disrupted the ship's shields. Kale led the rebel forces in a coordinated strike. Finally, the Valran flagship fell silent, its engines failing, and Rel's command was broken. The remaining fleet retreated, unwilling to fight without their leader's guidance. Silence followed the chaos. The rebels cheered. Ethan sank into his seat, exhausted but alive. Alira looked at the horizon, the nebula glowing around them. We did it, Ethan whispered. Alira turned to him, a small, proud smile on her face. Yes. But this is only the beginning. The Empire will rebuild. We must remain vigilant. But for the first time, we have a chance to change the galaxy. Kale clapped Ethan on the shoulder. Not bad for a cargo engineer. You might just be a hero after all. Ethan laughed weakly. I still can't believe this is my life. Alira placed her hand on his arm. You chose to help when no one else would. That is what makes a hero. That is what makes a human. And somewhere, in the endless stretch of stars, the galaxy shifted. One human, one princess, and their allies had stood against an empire, and shown that courage, hope, and the will to survive could change everything. The universe was vast, dangerous, and uncertain. But for the first time, it felt a little brighter. And somewhere deep inside, Ethan knew one truth he would carry forever. Sometimes, being human is the most powerful weapon of all.